Now, seven more abducted passengers of the March the 28th train attack by terrorists have been reunited with their families. Emotions flowed freely as family members and friends could not hold back their joy when the victims arrived home. The release comes barely a month after five abducted passengers were released by the terrorists. The negotiation process was led by Mamu Tukur, who revealed that six of the released victims are members of the same family, which include a couple and their four children. A 60-year-old woman, Aisha Hassan, was also freed due to life-threatening health challenges. It is still unclear if ransom was paid to the terrorists for their release.
Take the federal government to negotiate, to sit with these people, find out their grievances. They have innocent people, hardworking people, men who have left their children, they have left their wives for over 135 days. There are people there stranded. They don't have any means. Please, we're pleading on the federal government. Please, sit with these people. Seek Sheikh Gumi's audience, please. By the grace of God, with him here, he could assist and alleviate and help solve these problems.
But we thank God for mercy and grace, and we just pray that the rest of the people that we left back would be released as soon as possible. So whatever the government or whoever it is that can support to get them out, we pray that they do whatever they can to get them out as soon as possible.
Security expert Larry Suraj is joining me on the news this hour. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC News at 1. Well, it's a bittersweet tale that we heard overnight, or let's say from yesterday. Sweet because we learned of the 28 members of some of the seven more abducted passengers of the Abuja Kaduna train attack were released yesterday. And bitter in the sense that we still have more people in captivity. How have you been reading this situation?
My reading of the situation, and which is not just reading, the fact of the situation now is that those who are actually released, actually those who can meet the demanded amount of ransom. So we're not just to be pretending as if they are just randomly selected for release, but it is the ability of the family and the people around them to raise and mobilize the amount of ransom that is demanded by the kidnappers. It is not just done on the matter of either goodwill or compassionate ground, not at all. What I think is important is that we shouldn't just limit ourselves to the current situation or the current kidnapping experience. That there's every likelihood that we would be experiencing more. I mean, if these guys are getting away with this level of atrocity to the extent that the train was attacked successfully, people were kidnapped successfully, no consequences. Even some of their militant officers and the rest were freed from prison, and still we're still talking about almost like begging them. So it is more or less like we've lost, and the country has lost the capacity to actually protect its citizens, and it is only begging, abductors and kidnappers to release with ransom paid. Let us not continue playing this ostrich, game and pretending as if it's on compassionate ground that some of those they were released based on payment on ransom. And this is already business for the criminals who have already adopted it. And we need to start treating it as such. That is the only way we can get to the root of the matter. That is the only way we can address it as it is. These are not just terrorists, as you want to continue saying. And I would appeal that we're not just in the way that we have been representing them as some people who have some grievance to resolve with the system or with the government. It is gone beyond that. These are just criminals who are after making money. And that is why they get the money to buy additional ammunition, to increase the number of kidnapped victims. And also my worry is the institutions that we have. There's no way that this amount of money are paid, and many of our banks are not culpable in the atrocities, in the criminalities. And the earlier that we want the financial institution, regulatory and monitoring agencies to start looking into the banks beyond just the ordinary and establishing how monies are going in and out, we're not likely to get to the root of the matter. And the same thing goes to our telecom subscribers. It is still obvious that communications are done via telephone and some other means of communication. How are these also getting outside the radar of our telecoms operators? We can't continue to pretend as if we are incapable of dealing with these issues, as if we're living in a banana republic, as if everything is just manual, when we know there are electronic means through which people can actually be tracked and apprehended, and failing to adopt them and thinking that we would get to the root or a solution to the problem. It's never going to happen.
Right, with all of these things that you actually stated and postulated, shows that there is a lot of devil in the detail. But then one of the freed captives said that he said the federal government should dialogue with these bandits, should dialogue with these kidnappers, so that they can find a lasting solution to it. And also saying that they should seek Sheikh Gumi's assistance in negotiating with these terrorists. Recall that the president had also said that the terrorists or the bandits reneged on their promise. So are there some things that they know that we don't know? And with all of these things altogether, do you think we are making a headway?
We're not making a headway at all. I mean, these guys are moving from just robbing people on the road, from kidnapping on the road, and they've gone as far as, hijacking the train, abducting people on a train, killing people. And then it's very easy for people, and I don't blame the people who talked about the victim, the released victim, talking about negotiation. You can't go through that horrific experience in the hands of this daredevil, for those number of days, and you would not think of the best way that you can get them off that level of madness that are displayed by these guys. But there's no amount. These guys have tasted blood in terms of the money that is involved in the business, in terms of the lack of sanctions, and that is what I would say. With the fact that the country and the system is incapable of bringing them to justice, there's no amount of negotiation. I don't see what Gumi is going to say. What is he going to say? He's going to tell them to release this one. Is that going to get them off, kidnapping and business? Is Gumi going to give them the money or pay the equivalence of what they are realizing from their criminal activities? No, that is not just the situation. That is not a solution. These are people who want beyond, what we would just assume. I mean, they're making money and they're living a good life outside the atrocities that they are committing with the kidnapping. So it is not just that simple to say get Gumi to talk to them and then do what? I mean, yes, what?
I'm afraid your point is made already. Your point is made already. Security expert Larry Suraj, thank you so much for your keenness of insight on this.
My pleasure.
Right.